can't believe it either. I just really can't. But my guess, I hope I don't screw this up. Maanarak of the Grey.
Maanarak.
Yeah, Maanarak. Yeah. So what does Maanarak mean?
Well, it's my three legal names combined. So
Ah,
Radinka Anamari, and I just kind of took the Rakananma, and I was like, let's see what we can do with this. And it turned out to be Maanarak, and Man in Dutch means moon, and I feel like a connection to the moon. So this was like a happy coincidence as well.
that's cool. That's no, it's a creative way to come up with do a name. I like my last name is Pentolaresco, so it was like I really don't think I could be anything other than who I am. Just it's just like that is me. But it's cool that you can kind of make a name and adopt kind of like a little bit of a persona as an artist for this. So that's an interesting thing. So is there a like is there like I guess for lack of a better term, some people get really nervous, so that when they
Mhm.
put themselves in like a persona of some kind,
Right.
right, to get them more confident or that person they've always envisioned themselves to be. Is
Mhm.
that the case here?
So I'll tell you what how this came to be. It didn't start out as an artist name originally. There was a period of time where I was so focused or obsessed rather with like how you call it, like conspiracy theories.
Yes.
And there's one about the legal name and you're being owned by the state and this.
Yes. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I. You know what? I love a good conspiracy even today,
Yeah.
because well, they come from two really big points, right? The first is, let's be honest, doesn't matter where you live in the world, our governments aren't honest. And because our
Hmm.
governments aren't honest, it always opens the door for like what's really going on, which is a
Exactly.
rational human like response to like, if I'm being lied to, well then what's really going on? That's just a natural state of that's just a natural thing. But there's also like a little magic to it too, right? Right.
Hmm.
It has a tendency. There's this tendency when you go down this like those rabbit holes can be a lot of fun, and some of those connections are even true. That's the part that
Yeah.
really like that breaks the noodle, right? Is
Hmm.
some of this is real, all right? Not all of it, but some of it is
By
quite,
far.
but right, but some of it is actually quite real. So when you see that, it's like, okay, there are like going outside the box is fun, but the problem with the conspiracy mindset is this: everything's a deception, everything's a lie, everything. And while I don't like, again, politically speaking, I'm an atheist. I have no faith in any government whatsoever. I think that's a
Hmm.
really good, just a good common sense way to be in general.
Yeah.
Um, I can't live that way with people. I just can't. Like I cannot have this like, you have to believe in something at the end of the day. I
Hmm.
think it's healthy. I think it's the way it needs to be.
Sorry, just
Um,
gonna connect this real quick.
no worries. What you gotta do, you gotta,
Yeah.
right. So that's the but it's always fun. Like there are secrets. It's almost like the old school treasure hunting in some ways too, right? Because it's like hidden treasures, hidden secrets, hidden mysteries. There's a kind of like a little bit of a magic to it. And
Yeah.
that's what, right? That's why when you look at something like the X Files, that was the appeal of the show, right? You'd be going down and exploring this mystery, this wonder, this magic of what's the world really like,
Right.
right?
Yeah, I get you. I got, as you said, you have a rabbit hole, and it's like, which way do you end up? I'm gonna say I did kind of go crazy a bit, just what you say, like then everything is a lie.
Yeah,
But luckily, I could bring myself back a bit, and I like this balance of healthy criticism. So I don't take everything like, okay, what you're telling me is definitely 100% true. I take it with a grain of salt. I'm like, I think it's the conspiracy is there, but we theorize about it because we don't know exactly what is going on. um, And the naming thing was really, I thought I don't want to be owned. If this my legal name is owned by the state, then I'm gonna do a name
That's
that
yours. That's
yeah,
yours.
that's mine. I came out, it's my own name.
No,
uh,
it's an old concept. Like it's and even beyond like the conspiracy concept. It's an old concept. Like owning yourself.
mhm,
Coming to sense of who you are. This is who I am, right? And that's that's the how do I put this? Um, there's power in that too. It's like, hey, I'm going to take who I am, who I was, and I'm going to be like, this is it. This is who I am. This is what I do, right?
yeah,
And you know, that's so who is this person? Who does she want to? Where what may? Because I'm assuming Monarch
mhm,
of Grey is the hero of your story. Now I could be wrong on that,
yeah,
right? But I tend to have this people that we have this tendency to want to be the heroes in our own story, whatever that actually is. So, what is the difference between Manerick and who you normally are? How do you see both people?
right. So I think who I normally are first. Am sorry. First
Sure.
of all, is like this person with the daily responsibilities. The one running the business, showing up for the 9 to 5 job, just kind of like daily obligation thing. And I think in Manara allows me to go into this fantasy world, which is needed for me to create. It like kind of builds down this wall that I have of like the daily obligations and just allows me to create as an artist. So essentially, she came to be that artist persona, even though it didn't start like that. Um, it's not that I wouldn't like do it with my own name. It's not an issue, but I like this idea of she can be whoever she pleases to be. And I think
Mhm.
maybe that dates back to I'm like a natural observer. Um, and in the past, that allowed other people to go like, "Oh, she's a blank canvas. Let me just tell her who she's supposed to be," and just try to create something out of me that I was not. And I think, as you said, the power part, Manorak is kind of like reclaiming, like, no, I'm not your blank canvas. I am. This is who I am. This is how I want to dress. This is what I want to make. This is what I want to present to the world. So I don't know if there's much difference in my normal persona. I think now they're kind of like
Sure.
conjoining. It's yeah. There's not much difference at the end of the day, because the way I am dressing now, I would dress regularly. Just if I one day decide I want to do makeup, because I don't do makeup all the time. If I decide I want to do makeup and go out as Radinka, the legal person, I would still look the same and behave the same and talk the same. So what is the big difference at the end of the day? It's just me renaming myself. It's just that taking of power element at the end of the day.
So there's two parts to this that's interesting to
Mhm.
me. Um, First is like, actually, first before we continue, Karina Cantus said hi to both of us on Facebook.
Oh, hi,
Yeah,
Karina.
yeah, loved you too, Miss Karina. So that's first thing. First thing. Second, um, so are you a comic book fan?
I love. I wouldn't say like I'm a fan, but I like it. I liked like the web comics at some point. I was really catching up with certain web comics, but I love the concept and everything. Yeah.
Well, what I'm thinking like is the whole like superhero concept, right? So most people that are superheroes, right? There's Clark Kent, mild mannered reporter, and then suddenly, he rips the shirt off. And he's Superman. He's
Yeah.
absolutely, I'm the Man of Steel. Bullets bounce off me. I am got muscles on my muscles. I can make a difference in the world, right?
Right.
Superman's the ultimate kid's dream, like totally, like the ultimate kid's dream, and I think it's super cool that like that thing. But the thing about what you're talking about there, it's almost like you're trying to find like your inner superhero to some degree, right? So because it's like, and which leads to a very interesting thing, like psychologically, is like that whole concept of real, right? That whole concept of real, is that really a fantasy? I'm not like I think one of my favorite lines in Harry Potter, like in Harry Potter, was like it's my favorite scene in the whole series, is the King's Crossing conversation with Dumbledore. The last line has stuck in my head pretty much my whole life.
Mhm.
And when Harry asked him, "Is this real? Is this all in my head?" And Dumbledore goes, "Of course this is all in your head, but why would that make it any less real?" And I mean, is it really truly fully a fantasy? I would argue no, it's not. Right? You're someone that, for whatever you've been through, whatever you wanted to find more about yourself, or find again to reclaim your freedom, find purpose, find whatever it is we're looking for.
Mhm.
And you said, okay, my day job, Clark Kent persona, just as it wasn't cutting the mustard. So
Yeah.
I need to take, okay, who am I really when I don't have to play the bullshit game, right? And you're like, okay, this is who I am. No bullshit required. No, none of that stuff. Just this is who I want to be. To the point that maybe Maanarak might be the realer person. Maybe that's not the case yet. Maybe you're still like, when you're in person, it's like, I'm shy and I'm not that person.
Yeah.
But maybe, like it said, it's that permission to be someone else or become someone else. That's maybe what you were looking for.
Yeah, I definitely feel you on that concept. I think what really hit me about what you said just now is maybe Maanarak is the realer me, even realer than the one on
Yeah.
paper. Um, and I think there's some truth in that, because essentially what I've as I said before, what I'm doing is just being like, no, this is actually who I am. And I can see that she is more real in a sense. Yeah, what is reality at the end of the day? But
What is real, right? Right.
yeah,
Yeah. What is real, right? How do you define
it's
what
yeah,
is real? How do you define real? Still, like, I mean, it's if you are who you want to be at the end of the day. Like I have this really big belief with people in general that no matter who you are, what you do, you are exactly who you want to be. Right? The things you choose to influence your life are the things you want to influence your life. Right? Right? The things that the characteristics you try to seek out are the characteristics if you want to be, if you do the work, you will become. We have this great freedom in this world. We always, no matter what the conditions of society are, we have this freedom in the world to be whoever we want to be. Sometimes society tries to push you into a mold more so than other points in history. But at the end of the day, you have it in you to look at the system and go like this if you want to the system. And right, if you have that choice, you also have the choice of you can go with it if you want. If it benefits you, you'll go with it, right? It's human nature is human nature. So I bring all this up like this to say that, I mean, maybe it was the conspiracy stuff initially, but that I get the feeling there was also more, again, more to it than that. Like I said, we've mentioned this at the beginning, is you were looking for answers to stuff at some point in your life,
yeah, that brings
right?
you to conspiracy to begin with. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You were looking for certain answers, like why is this happening? Where is this? Like, why is this happening? Why does this? Why? why is this like going the way it's going? And what it comes down to is, um, what it comes down to is you realize you realize that you wanted more, and maybe this is what gives you permission to get more.
Yeah. I think it's true. I think it's some kind of safe space for myself, if I can put it like that.
Yeah,
That if someone tries to tell me maybe you should do this, and I tell them, well, no, here you don't make the decisions in this. Maybe I'll listen to you later when I am like functioning under my own name or whatever. Um,
maybe.
but it
Why not?
does. I do notice that I've um, something that I was looking for is that permission to not only be who I want, and explore that who do I want to be, but to also tell people like fuck up. You don't get to,
Yeah,
you know.
finding that strength, that strength and that
Yeah,
power. I want to be who I want to be, and
yeah,
you can't tell me what to do anymore. And this allows you to do that. Whereas
exactly.
maybe mild mannered, Radinka, where I said, "Oh, I'll think about it," and maybe she thought about it one too many times, and she said, "You know what? Fuck this.
Yeah,
I don't need your bullshit anymore. I want to
exactly.
be me." Right? That's accurate, I think.
But I
Right?
noticed like a change also as a result since because mind you, I've made this name maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I used it here and there. And then when I decided to, no, I want to be an artist, I'm going to do my creative business and be a creative professional, I thought this is the perfect name to go with. And since I've kind of unveiled her and did the basic steps that first kind of like made me nervous, like putting talking about her on LinkedIn, which is again this mashing up of I on LinkedIn I'm Radinka, but then I'm talking about being Maanarak. Like I'm sharing, for example, when I did the interview with Karina, so I'm sharing like um, Karina Kanta, sorry, and I told him like, this is my first interview as an artist and that. So it was also introducing them to Maanarak. And I noticed really since I've done all of that and it went better than I expected, like, get support from people that I was like, oh, didn't expect them to even just like my post or whatever. Um, I'm My communication with people has changed. Like the way that I communicate, whether it's as Banarak or I think it's just has changed. Um, in every way, just in everyday life, but also in other projects that I'm helping with. Um, for example, I was doing the social media for a crowdfunding campaign for a project in Uganda, Women's Garden. And first, I went in because I was still searching what is my creative business going to be. I went in as I'm gonna lead this whole social media campaign, but halfway I noticed, well, I also have to make my own content and I have to make their content and then I have to schedule their posts and have to strategize about their, like, I called them, I still want to help. I find it a very important project. Um, but I can't take the lead on the whole campaign. So find like a freelancer or something, someone, I mean, that is going to do the planning and everything, and I will stick to my strengths, which is storytelling. And I can make and edit your videos. I can do, like this type of works, but I'm not gonna sit and strategize for you because I already have to strategize for myself, and that's a lot of work. And I only have so many days in a week next to my regular job, so I can't juggle all of the things. And whereas before, um, if I didn't have that Manarak aspect, I would just work myself tirelessly trying to make that work for them, and then wonder while it's like failing or something, just because I wouldn't have the energy to put in it. So I am in that sense noticing a change within myself since I've decided to really go for it and identify myself as Maanarak. And yeah, I think she's a bit more feisty than
But you need to
yeah.
be. You need to be. Like this is a lot of people like the business of art requires a certain degree of like, and I say this like in like not a terrible way, but ruthlessness.
Yeah.
One sec, I did this by. I this is my first time doing this.
What happened?
My microphone. Hold on a second here. 1 second here. My microphone did a. One. Come on, you. All right. Can you hear me?
I can still hear.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Microphone accident. I'm a trained professional, ladies and gentlemen. No, what thing is, art requires a degree. Like when you're working for yourself, you have to have a certain degree of ruthlessness embedded in yourself. Because one of the biggest challenges is one of the really biggest challenges doing this. I try. I am such a pro, Karina. I am solely a professional. But the thing is, you have to stand up for yourself. This is not a business. A lot of people will, for whatever reason, people think art is easy. Think your time is not like. And perhaps the biggest lesson I learned as a freelancer at the very beginning is if I let people walk on me, they will. That's the reality. That's the reality. You have to take almost become a different mindset and a different person when you decide to turn art into a business. It doesn't matter what level you're at, right? If you're saying I'm going to make money doing this shit, right? That's when you say that. Well, you're going to deal with people who don't necessarily value your time and effort. And that's a big part of the starting process of this is you have to learn how to stand up for yourself, and you got to be authentic, and you got to figure out who you are, and it's a whole giant mess of a process. It really is. Hey, Nathan, I do sound vintage. That's the whole idea. I sound very vintage. But yeah, I'm just watching the Facebook comments. Facebook comments are not visible. My Twitch comments are. If anyone's on Twitch and wants to comment, I will definitely add to it. But the whole thing is, if you are making this decision, you have to go, okay, what will I do? What won't I do? And you got to make a stand, a really strong stand about what that actually is, right? And most people don't really understand. Ours don't understand that, right? Right there, you're going in, and these guys are like, well, I'll get what I can out of you, and you're like, no, we're going to do this. True secret to freelancing, ladies and gentlemen, is this, has always been this. The more you charge, the more people respect you. That's how it works. It doesn't go any way else. It always has and always will be about your worth, right? There's always, for me, I tend to be a little hesitant on the first time I do a job, right? Let's say like I did a video commercial about 2 weeks ago. I was hesitant because I didn't know what my strengths, my weaknesses were, my capabilities were. I couldn't honestly quantify those. So it's like, oh, I'll go with this. I know it's going to take some time. Now I know what that's worth because I've done it, right? And now I'm going to be like, well, it's going to cost you this much to get me to do it. And if someone goes, well, no, I'll be like, well, I didn't want you anyway because, right, you're not going to respect my time. So you got to find a way to like kind of find that with yourself. Like, how can I? Basically, part of this persona is your ability to say no.
Very important. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's also something I talk about in my book. That basically I'm still currently healing from moments that my no was not loud enough or not clear enough, or if it was, it made people angry. Because for some reason, I am so nice and giving naturally that when I suddenly decide, well, I've run out of water, I'm gonna close the tap. People get angry that there's no water coming out anymore.
Yeah, well, because you
And
mess with
yeah,
expectations. You mess with yeah, right. One of the biggest things, like people don't get mad at yeses or nos. They get mad at expectations. If um if if you're a certain way a certain time, or right, and suddenly you change course,
hmm
it's naturally like, well, what the hell's going on, right? Because you've created those circumstances where you let yourself be treated a certain way, right? Now I'm
right.
not saying it's right. It wasn't, but again, people get used to those things. People get used to how, right, you're treated. And when you suddenly want to make those changes, it rocks people. It just rocks them in ways that they never anticipated or expected.
I definitely understand the creating of a expectation. That I mean, I notice it in myself. Like if I expect something from someone, um, and they react differently than what I had planned in my mind for them to react like, I also get angry. But I've learned to check myself because, um, in a way, I kind of see it like. Um, if I am expecting people to respect me once I do change my mind on something or whatever, I kind of have to do the same um, when someone reacts differently to my expectations. Um, I think that's a bit more accepting also from from my side. Yeah, you're not never as people can't always 100% like dance to my expectations. They can't expect me to dance to theirs. So it's like setting these boundaries also, um, in a way.
Boundaries are healthy. Like boundaries are very healthy. Like they're
Yeah.
not. It's the biggest thing is when you make a change, you kind of have to announce the change. That's something I've learned, and then kind of let people just make their own choices from that point on. But what I've learned is like never fall in love with an outcome. In other words, like look, I can point out things to people, good, bad, or different. I can point out things for people that may not change their reactions, their fears, their worries, all those things. Um, but I can still point stuff out. Right? I'm not in love with the expectation of what someone's going to say after I point these things out. And I never
Right.
let myself do that anymore. Right? Now I do have certain expectations with people, but they're very, very simple. In that you're going to be honest with me, right? If you change your mind, you're going to, respect. If you're going to change your mind on stuff, let me know. Kind of let me know what's going on, because that's you. Again, you've created an expectation.
hmm
So if you're going to change the expectation, right, change it in a way where I can understand where you're coming from, right? If you do that, there's never really a problem. Like then beyond that, it's just like let's just continue going on whatever path we're going on,
hmm
and that's something as a person. Um, I've had to learn, even with professional relationships, especially, or even personal ones. You have to kind of like in terms of expectations, relationships, right? First, it starts with you. What do you want? How do you want to be treated?
hmm
But the second thing, and the most important thing is, right, trying to have separate yourself, try to separate yourself from how other people react. Because at the end of the day, it's not about them. It's
Yeah.
about how you want to live going forward, right? And that's important. It takes a lot of work, time, and understanding of like you to really realize these things. And when
hmm
we're younger, we never think about this shit, and we should when we're younger, but we don't,
It's
right?
definitely helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, but when we get older, we realize, listen, I don't want to go through this ringer anymore. I don't have to cooperate with any of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
right? If you want me to do stuff for you, this is what it's going to take. Having those demands and those expectations, as again in every aspect of your life, good, bad, or indifferent, right? That's a good thing.
Yeah,
It's not a bad thing at all. It's a requirement.
definitely. But as you said, it's a learning process as well. It's like I'm still learning, um, and I am excited that that process is kind of like speeding up a bit. That when I notice a red flag in someone, I'm not going to be accept. Like for example, I kind of rejected someone recently in the sense that uh, think he liked me a bit more than I like him, and I was like, whoa, First I was like, let's slow down, and then I was like, it's not gonna work for me. And then I did tell him, when I said slow down, if I change my mind, I will tell you. Um, and then I changed my mind, and I told him like, I just don't feel the same, and then he completely flipped on me and started to like pick a fight with me. I guess he finds pleasure in this, um, to see how to get out of my skin or something.
It,
And
it's well, if you don't mind my a theory for you to consider.
Mhm.
He had this expectation of what you were going to do and what you were going to be,
Yeah.
right? You're a beautiful woman, right? You're
Mhm.
a beautiful woman. He probably is like, holy shit, you're hot. Like let's see, and he had this like this fantasy in his head of what that was going to be like,
Definitely, yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Now you are the reality, and you told him, hell no. Now not just like right, just like hell no. It's not
Yeah.
how this is gonna go,
So I kept
right?
it nicer than that even,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, but you were nice about it. But that's what you that is what you said. It's like, nope,
Yeah.
this is not how the fairy tale book ending is going to go. That motherfucker's still in love with his ending. But
Yeah.
I have this beautiful end. And you're like, nope, not a zip, zero. No, this is the ending. I'm gonna go on my merry way, and you're gonna have a nice life. That's
Yeah, but I
it.
still offered like we can be friends. Like I don't buy it. I think you're a nice person and everything. And it's funny that you mentioned fairy tale because literally said you can still enjoy my company, but I will no longer treat you as a princess. And I thought I never asked you to treat me as a princess, as a fucking basic human being. Yes, I won't.
Okay, so I mean, guys struggle with this thing all the time. I'm as guilty of this as anybody. I find someone I really really like, right?
Mhm.
It's like, right. So the first thing guys think about is that, and then the second thing they think about, right, is in right. So like there's what they call the friend zone, but there's also what they call the fuck zone, right? There's there right. Here's the
Mhm.
thing. Guys, generally speaking, don't want to be just in the friend zone. Like, not just be that nice. They don't want to be caught in that. I'm just a nice guy. That doesn't mean they aren't nice guys, but they're
Mhm.
more than that. Same with the women. Women don't want to be in the fuck zone. Yes, women do like getting laid. Most people do. But that all said, there's more to life than both of those perspectives, right? There's more to life than both of those perspectives, and you got to understand with women in your life, like if with women in my life, some you might be able to go, hey, you want to do something? They'll be like, yeah, and like maybe I don't know, and you might be able to be like, okay, not saying no exactly, but they're not sure, so you can
Mhm.
work on that. Some, nope, okay, that's fine, that's totally fine too. And as I've gotten older, I talk to more women now than I talk to guys. Actually,
Okay.
what I find. So again, I kind of feel like I'm in the friend zone.
Yeah.
Right at the same time though but I also realize that like I don't see it as necessarily an invaluable thing either. What I've learned is in terms of women, most women want to be talked to, right, and they want to be respected, right, and I find if you give those things you can still hit on them. So that's what I've learned.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you
Right.
see who goes for the for the how do you call it? Um, I wanted to use a fishing
Yeah,
analogy, but I
you
couldn't
can
find.
use it. I mean, I don't care. I mean, but
Yeah.
but I mean, but the whole point is right. Like like you have your own decisions you want to make about who you want to be, and that's everybody, right? You're not you don't owe a guy anything, right? You owe nobody anything other than like what you're willing to give, right? And that's the thing. It's a choice, right? It's always a choice. Now again, I that's not to say I haven't. I like this didn't come to me overnight. I've made plenty of mistakes in this regard.
Mhm.
But what I've learned in the last few years, especially with this whole thing going on around us, is don't be in love with outcomes. Don't be afraid that every new strain is going to be the end of the world. Virus is just going to virus. There's no point in panicking every single time something new happens. It's pointless.
Right.
Doesn't mean it's going to go the way you think it's going to go. Vice versa. But that's true with everything. Relationships. I just met you. We're talking. We're talking about the power of a name, and you got an amazing name, and it's awesome. We're going to talk about your books and your art in just a second here, because
Mhm.
I know that's kind of why you're here, and but at the same time, like the biggest thing I've learned, like it's my ninth rule now: always be detached from an outcome. Because if you're
Mhm.
detached from an outcome, you can look at everything for what it could be. For example, right? I'm not sure. Like, yes, you'd probably be okay with me saying you're a pretty woman, right? But I get the feeling that's as far as you want it to go, and that's totally fine, right? Instead, so
Yeah.
I could be upset about this, or I could just say, you know what? I have this amazing, artistic, wonderful human being who came up with a unique way to express herself. Again, making a name change that allows her to be more confident and comfortable, and she can make an ass of herself on the air with me now, and she's cool with that, and that's an amazing thing, right? And I can get a friend from another part of the world out of this, and that's not a
Right.
bad thing altogether, right?
I completely agree with you that this expectation thing is, yeah, it's, I think it's the biggest. Again, I noticed with myself, I'm not perfect. I also have had expectations from people that I
Yeah.
like flip, but I try not to do that anymore. And I get another process because like I can go into something thinking I have no expectations, but then once they react differently and I notice
Yeah.
the emotion in myself, I'm like, oh, I kind of did have some expectations apparently. And
Yeah, but I mean, I think the hardest part on that one is like, especially if you've had previous experience with creating reactions, right?
Mhm.
Well, if I tell somebody this, and this, and they've reacted in the past like this, and this, human nature is relatively the same in one real sense, in that
Mhm.
if you're honest and authentic with people, they tend to be honest and authentic with you. And there's certain reactions, and there's understanding, and there's freedom to understand. Still goes haywire from fucking time to time, though. It's like, okay, did I really know what the hell I was doing the whole time?
Apparently not.
Right? And I mean, we're all guilty of this. We all
Yeah.
are. And that's to some degree to be expected. But what I'm trying to remember in this point, in this day and age, is that I don't need to carry, like, I don't need to have, like, this ruined expectation does not mean it's the end of the world either. Right? There might be something better here,
Mhm.
right? And that's a very big thing, right? In the sense that if you expect the worst, you're always going to see the worst. You expect the best, you're always going to tend to see the best. Sometimes even when you shouldn't. Sometimes,
Yeah.
hey, that guy really is an asshole. No, he's not. He's a great. No, he's an
Yeah.
asshole. So that is the way it is. But but the point I'm making there, and the point I'm hoping that people get and people understand is right. If you keep yourself open, you'll probably see things a little more objectively, or more so. And again, even if it doesn't work out the way you imagined with, that's not always a bad thing.
Yeah. We don't always
Sometimes it
want
works
the
out
best.
even better. Sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, in a way, it worked out better for me, this situation, um, because I feel like I dodged the bullet.
Yes. Oh no, you absolutely did.
Yeah, because I was like,
We will.
okay.
We will, Karina. We're getting there. We're getting there, Karina. Don't worry. We will to the book. So,
Oh. What did she say? I don't.
she said it's on my Facebook page. You go on my Facebook page.
Oh.
She said, "Shows the book."
Ah.
We will. We will. We're just talking.
You're,
We're just
you're
talking.
brilliant tension.
Yeah. 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 No. No. Because this is. I think this is a real like. I think what we're talking about is a very real thing, in the sense that we all have these. We're all guilty of looking for expectations for other people, and we shouldn't. Instead, what we should be doing is just accepting, like being open to like this is it, right? This may seem like whatever, but I'm just gonna go with it and kind of just see where it's gonna take me, right?
Mhm.
If you make no assumptions, if you're willing to do, like I said, it's an important thing. If you have an open mind to what's around you, you have a tendency. Again, you got that doesn't mean again, we all can get lost in the weeds. We all have that. Like that's my thing. Now it's like an ADD. Ooh, I'm pretty funny.
Mhm.
This is kind of cool because you're open to everything, right?
Yeah.
But um, it eliminates a lot of judgment. It eliminates a lot of stuff. And again, and for a situation like yours, for example, right? You dodged the bullet, absolutely. Like because if he's going, well, I have this fairy tale ending of where we're gonna go, and all this other one. It's like you have a say in that,
Mhm.
and you should,
I'd like to
and
think so. Yeah.
yeah, you should, and if you don't, then maybe someone should mention something to everybody and like say, hey, maybe you shouldn't have those expectations with anybody to begin with. Instead, just let people be themselves and let them pleasantly surprise you.
I feel like I had a lot more of this personality when I was like a teenager.
Hmm.
Uh, and it's kind of coming back, right? Like I went down the rabbit hole, as we were saying before, and I've come out, and now I'm like, you know, actually, the way I thought before was perfectly fine. Like I should be more open again and with less expectations and kind of going with the flow of life, um, especially when it comes to working with other people or just relationships in general. It helps reduces like 50% of the stress, I think, just not having that expectation.
Yeah. So we went down an interesting rabbit hole there, but I think a good rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your art and stuff, because you're a freelancer, rock star, writer. So I'm assuming you've always been artistic,
Hmm.
but at the same time, I get the feeling, much like everything else in life, there was a this is how it was supposed to be, and you kind of went and did that for a while, right? Until you realize, what the fuck am I doing?
Exactly. I could have worded better. Yeah. No, indeed, I always was creative and like already in my teenage years, I taught myself like Creative Cloud and these things, and just had a blast making 3D clothes, even for like 3D chats and these things. Um, and then the suggestions started coming from my family, like, maybe you should do tourism or do this, do that. And of course, I went that route. And at every step, almost every step, I tried to change to art somehow. But something would go not again expectations, not the way I wanted. For example, at one point I tried to switch to art when I was doing tourism, and they told me, well, since you're missing these aspects, you would have to start a level lower. or 2 levels lower, and I was like, we're not doing that. So I ended up finishing tourism. After that, I thought I'll do business studies because I had all kinds of business ideas. One Less than 1 year in, I thought this is way too commercial. It was basically let's ruin the earth and then go deplete the resources on the moon kind of idea. Um, and then I studied international development. Also during that, I was thinking to switch to arts, but anyway, to not go too much into details what happened there, I finished it at the end of the day, and I did do a minor in creativity and art, um, and that was in my academic career, that was the happiest 6 months of my life. Just getting to being creative, and then afterwards, I thought I have to pursue this, and I had two ideas in my mind on how to start. Um, One project was shorter, so I started with that. Um, and the idea of this is that I just got out of like a 5 year relationship, and just I felt completely lost at the end of that relationship, and it was someone also like very dominant, and like also this type of person trying to tell me at every step of whatever I was doing how I was supposed to do it, how I was supposed to look and talk and everything. um, and at the end of just the end of that, and finally getting out of the apartment with her, I was going through a lot of things, and usually at these points I find myself writing a lot of poetry. So I was writing a lot of poetry to just survive the situation. And I thought, well, they were really powerful poetry. I was like really proud of them, that I wanted to do something with them. So I selected a few, and I thought, well, okay, I can't. It's just the development of the project. I can't just like put 10 pieces of poetry and sell it as a book. Um, so the next step was like I would really like to depict them like in illustration, so you don't only read the words, but you kind of feel what I'm feeling even more through the illustrations. Gives you like this kind of visual extra. Um, and then I thought I really want to share the stories, even though not so in depth. But I wanted to share the story, how what situations brought me to write that piece, um, and ended up with
Ooh, a tale of
her.
her. A tale of her.
Yeah.
It's the other way around. His on the screen, so it's just like okay,
Oh,
gotta make sure I'm reading that right. Tale of her. It's a very pretty book. Very pretty looking book.
so the her, as you said, being the hero, that the Maanarak is her in a way, and I really like mindfucks kind of it. So I alternate between talking about her as a third person, but then talking about her as myself. And I'll read you like my favorite part where I do that is actually in the foreword. Uh, so I say, the events you are about to read have certainly shaped me and the woman I am, or rather, the woman I am becoming. This is her tale, and these are our stories. So I like this kind of. It's in a way a mind fuck, because like, who is she talking about? Isn't it her? And is it
No.
actually what we started like who is Maanarak, and when does she begin or end?
So
So
Karina is a fan. She said your poetry is powerful and potent, and I have no doubt you're exploring. You're kind of something I'm exploring in my poetry, although I'm doing it in a different way.
mhm.
Um, So I'm a big Carl Jung guy, right? I'm a big Carl Jung guy. So Carl Jung talks about personas in terms of shadows and egos and things of that nature. And it sounds to me, see, this again. I'm going to make it. I'm going to make some assumptions, and if you can, and if I'm wrong, please correct me, so that that we can do this. And that's this: you became very angry with everything you went through, and you aren't just angry at the events; you were angry at yourself for letting this stuff happen.
Mm-hmm.
Am I on the right?
You're
Am I
going
on?
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on. Yeah.
So what tends to happen in those what tends to happen in those situations is you there's also like there's a as human beings we have a habit of internalizing negative things for a long time because sometimes like we don't necessarily expect a perfect ride because life has taught us nothing's perfect. But at the same time, like what happens is you accept, and then one day you're like, fuck this, right? There's
Yeah.
just something inside you that says, no, no more. I'm not doing this anymore. There's no way I'm doing this anymore. And then Maanarak and you had decided to have a little conversation. Maanarak goes, you. She's like, and you're like, me? It's like, yes. Stop.
Yeah.
I will kick your ass. Stop doing this shit, right? And you listen. And yeah, yeah but it's one of those situations. It's one of those situations where people have this kind of realization that we're angry, and we don't want it. We want to deny that anger to some degree. We want to deny that anger to some degree. The truth is, I mean, we have to face that anger at some point in our life, whatever that point actually is. And it sounds to me like this book was kind of like that moment where it's like, that book was like, okay, you know what? I have to deal with this. I have to see this honestly. I have to be honest with what I'm feeling for myself to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Right.
I completely agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Facing your dark side. And your dark side not necessarily being a scary thing, as scary as you think it is when you see it. Right? We fear those things we don't understand. We don't want to the things we don't understand we tend to fear. The darkness scares us. But sometimes in those dark places, right? Right, you find yourself. And it sounds like in my story, Allison the Cheshire Cat. Cheshire Cat's in her head. The Cheshire Cat, if you want to play it like a subconscious conscious thing, the Cheshire Cat plays the role of her subconscious. He's always talking to Alice, needling her, pointing at her, because there's going to come that breakthrough moment for both of them at some point. I know exactly what it is. I made it a fiction. You experienced your own little rabbit hole. You went down the rabbit hole, and when you came back up, you were like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a perfect summary of the book, actually, because I do talk about all of those things. Even I refer to the yin and the yang. You know how, especially then this came afterwards that I got angry at someone that's like really into extreme positivity. Like, let's not talk about negative or darkness. And she said that like my energy was dark and anything, but that's the story for another day because that's like. um, but I already had parts of the book made, but after that conversation with her, I got so angry that I thought, I'm I don't think I ever hit my dark side. I'm kind of in love with it some in some elements of it, and I love going deep within myself, and all of that. And I more so, I guess my own life philosophy is trying to find that balance. That's why of gray, because you take the white, which is represented by the light, the good side, and the black, which is like the dark side. And when you combine white and black, is gray. So I like this being living in this gray zone between that light and dark. And I think in between those two is Maanarak of Grey, because I'm balancing the good and the bad of myself. Um, and I'm actually gonna see if I can show you the.
Sure, go right ahead.
Well, this is me as. Are you familiar with tarot cards?
Yes.
So this is me as the high priestess, and the high priestess stands. It sits between the pillar of darkness, and you don't see the dark one as good right now, but there's the dark. I made it curtains. It's my version, right? Um, Black curtain, white curtain. That's me in between. Um, so yeah, that is something that it fascinates me in a way. It's this dark and light. That I guess that this is the reason why also the Jekyll and Hyde story also is really fascinating to me, because I think
Yeah.
it's similar concept of dark and light. Um,
It's I listened to a conversation with Jocko Willemick and Jordan Peterson, and I really love the concept that we mentioned there is good people aren't necessarily like they just don't all think good thoughts. They think dangerous thoughts. They think dark thoughts. They think all the dark stuff you have inside you is
mhm,
there for a reason, right? It's there because it's part of what makes you you. I mean, like our flaws, whatever those flaws are, they're one of the reasons you're such a great artist is because those you have that unique way you see the world can
mhm,
only be there's good and bad. There's flaws you have as a person, but at the same time, they also create really good qualities in you too. And it's recognizing where one serves the other.
exactly. Yeah.
I think the only thing again, I don't quite go into the white and dark gray thing. My thing is this: it's about mastering. It's about inner mastery, right? Right. We all lose those battles too, somewhat too. I'm certainly
Mhm.
not. I don't bat 1,000, but what I realize is when I try to deny what I feel, it gets stronger, right? If I
Mhm.
acknowledge what I feel, I can dissipate it, or I can redirect it, or I can control it into something else, right? Now I'm Mediterranean. I got Maltese background, so I don't let shit go quite as quickly as I shouldn't sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And I definitely have to work on. There are things I'm always going to have to work on,
Mhm.
but that comes from the fact that I'm always so passionate about what I do. Since I'm so passionate, right? It's harder for me to just drop it. Like it's hard for me to do it right away. Now I'm not like angry. I'm gonna hate you forever and ever and ever kind of thing. I don't have that in me. I'm
Right.
like I'm gonna remember you did this shit.
Yeah.
That is in me, right?
Yeah.
And that's something that and again that's not always a good thing, but it can be a good thing too because it's like it gives me a strength.
Mhm.
I can look at people and see patterns because I just don't let this shit go so quickly. I'm like, right?
Mhm.
I again, there's good and then there's bad. Like it goes both ways. There's not a perfect solution, but it's how I use it. If
Right.
I right don't let shit go, I become this wrathful, angry person that's always trapped in the past.
Mhm.
That's a terrible fate for anybody. But if I just forget everything, I'm just gonna get like slapped again. I'm gonna make the same mistakes over and over
Right.
and over and over again. So what's the compromise there? Well, I probably shouldn't have the wrath of God for every little thing I that's happened to me. That's psycho, and I probably should get committed at that point. At the same time, I gotta protect myself, right? That I gotta protect myself. If fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, right? That's the
Mhm.
thing, right? And by the way, folks, again, I always simplify shit. Nothing I say is fucking easy here, right? That takes work and time and effort and understanding your own fuck ups. I have plenty of experience with my own fuck ups, so that's why I'm using my own shit,
Mhm.
right? So, um, but that all said, what I'm saying is, I think, and like the reason why Jekyll and Hyde is such a powerful story is because Jekyll refuses to acknowledge his darkest thoughts. So the monster becomes greater because he just denies the monster,
Yeah.
right? Right, and that's the thing. Once the monster, if you deny the monster, it actually makes you more capable of doing darker things. When we deny consequences to our actions, we actually make those consequences worse,
Mhm.
right? When we acknowledge those consequences, we can actually start mitigating and figure out ways, if not stop, but minimize.
Right.
That right? Terrible things come from those denials. But it also requires a certain bravery to openly confront yourself and say to ourselves, I let this happen. I forgive you. That's a hard,
Yeah.
hard thing, right?
Mhm.
Um, Easier when I was younger, harder as I get older, because I don't forget shit, and that's right, and that's my
I feel I had the same issue. Sometimes
yeah,
when I recall things to people, sometimes, especially before, where it would take me longer to confront someone. Um, and they would try to like gaslight me, or maybe they actually forgot. Um, I don't remember saying this, and I'm like, don't mess with me because my memory is so that had I looked at the clock at that exact moment, I could tell you what time you tell you said it on this date and what you were wearing. So don't go there with me. I have a good memory, so yeah,
yeah. It's understanding that little balance, right? You're trying to
yeah,
protect yourself, which is good. Wrath of Maanarak may not be necessary here, right? That's dangerous. At the same time,
yeah,
you can't have to protect yourself. So it's a weird balance, right?
yeah.
But you acknowledge the problem, right? You acknowledge, right? Not necessarily the problem. You acknowledge the characteristic you have,
Hmm.
and it can be whether it's a problem or not is entirely up to you, right?
Exactly.
So
Yeah,
it's why you gotta be careful if you enjoy anger a little too much, right? Because if you enjoy it,
yeah,
you'll look for reasons to stay angry,
exactly.
and there are points where that anger will not save you, right?
Yeah, and
Sometimes,
I've met those people that are so comfortable in anger, that they seek, even that guy that I was telling about, that they seek a way to not keep themselves in anger, but to make other people like kind of like an anger virus to infect other people with anger. And I think for me it was pain. Like I was so comfortable in pain, um, that I kept allowing certain things to happen, um, because if I would stand up and protect myself, I would no longer be in pain. And really, at that point in my life, what was I without? I didn't know who I was without that pain. So yeah, I think it's for everyone something else definitely, but for me it was definitely just being in pain.
yeah. Can I ask, what part of the world are you from?
I'm from the Caribbean.
You're from the Caribbean?
I'm living in the Netherlands at the moment. Um, it's an island off the coast of Venezuela, and it's called
Okay.
Bonaire, and we are a Dutch colony till this day. That's why I I am in the Netherlands. Um, but yeah, that's
No, I just asked because because again, Mediterranean. Like I was thinking possibly Mediterranean, but no, Spanish. Like yeah, like Spanish Mexican back. Like so of some
Mhm.
sense there. It's like I could see it. You'd be fire. Like you like a lot of fire, a lot of passion, right?
Mhm.
It can do. It's good and it's bad. You got to understand where it's like it can be both. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
It's finding a balance in it, definitely. And I think for me, like being creative allows me to balance it out because you can let some of that out and
yeah, absolutely.
give it
Like I
some.
said, because once it's out, you feel great. Like I'm done, I'm good. I feel then you can
Yeah,
be happy, and you can do like, and you can sing and dance and go, yay, I'm good again. Right?
yeah,
That's just that's how it works, right? That's why I
exactly.
love like I'm a big metal guy is because I love it. Like get all the anger out in a constructive way.
Hmm.
Over. I'm not angry anymore. It's all
I
done.
did. I enjoyed some of the metal on your LS1 list.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, this is good. Some songs that I was already familiar with, but I
Oh
was,
yeah.
wait, I see which.
It was a very Wonderland theme.
Yeah, and it actually it inspired me because I told you I'm gonna listen to it and see what it inspires me to do. I did this while I was listening to it.
Nice.
I kind of like created Wonderland. I did my makeup and I did it in a on what I wouldn't do usually. So instead of stripe, I started like drawing. So this is what your music inspired me to do. Um, Let me see. I wanted to share which songs I like. The thing why I asked you for music is that I love music first of all, but I think it tells you a lot about someone. Uh,
Oh, okay.
Listen to the music.
I'm very curious what this list tells you about me.
That you have good music taste first of all. um, and I yeah, based on music, I don't know. Like if I have a certain kind of matching um, musical taste with someone, then I know I can talk about like some um, kind
Go
of
ahead.
deeper.
You're not going to offend me. This list would throw a lot of people off because it's got
Oh
a
no!
lot of different stuff in here.
Did you get a chance to look at mine?
I
How
did.
mixed,
I didn't get
how
a chance
mixed
to
mine
listen.
is?
Didn't get a chance. I love Bjork. Like Bjork's really good. Didn't fit that list in particular, but it was really good.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
wasn't a list with a certain like I like to call my list like Russian roulette because you never know what you're gonna get. Like you had like Bjork and then suddenly you're like in the UK with
Yeah,
some.
no, I enjoyed the. I haven't had a chance to fully listen to it, but it was one of those ones where I looked at it and was like, okay, this is definitely one of those things where it's like she's got decent taste. Like the next, I'm working on the list for the. I'm redoing revisions on my next book, so the
Hmm.
theme of the next book is very much Fahrenheit 451. So kind of dystopia, but also hope.
Yeah.
So I only got like 4 songs on that list, but there's a lot of rise against on this list so far. But I mean, it's just like one of those things where it's just like, I'm looking at protest music. I'm
Mhm.
looking at like our darker moments too, because I think there's a very the thing about dystopia is there's a tendency to be like we see the best and worst of us in dark times. We see the
Mhm.
both, right? We see our monsters form. We see the like in this time. I've seen fear consume so many people. I've seen cruelty, the likes of which I hadn't seen. I haven't seen since the 80s. And right,
Mhm.
um, I've seen that, but I've also seen incredible kindness. right? I've seen people like, I think times like this we learn parts about ourselves, who we truly are. And you know, for me, I just learned that, how do I put this? I learned that I'm always going to be kind no matter how dark things get. It's just my nature to be kind.
Hmm.
I'm forgiving, I'm open, and I'm always going to be those things. I'm always going to listen to different voices. And you know, um, might be the death of me someday,
Oh
but
yeah, definitely. I think the same for myself. Yes.
but that's who I mean. You know, that's who I am, and I mean that's a real thing. And I think with you, so you draw, like you draw. So what do you prefer, writing or drawing?
Depends on my mood, I would say. Um, I like to do different things, but I think my main thing is like telling a story. Whether I'm making a video or writing a book or just writing poetry or illustration, I think there's always some story behind it. And it took me a while to realize this because I just kind of started the company. I thought I'm gonna do arts, and then I was like, but you like to do videos and you like to write books and you like to do all of these different things, so how do I have this one thing that describes actually what the passion is telling a story, and I use different mediums for that. Um, and yeah, it really depends on my mood whether I feel like that medium is gonna be writing or illustrating or more recently video because I joined TikTok. So
You join TikTok. Uh oh. Part of
yeah,
the army, the TikTok
yeah.
army.
So, but that just I was hesitant for a while to join TikTok, just to go for the step. Oh, I have to be creating like so much, and but once I took the step to join, I actually kind of um got reconnected with my love for making videos. Uh, so at the moment, I would say what I want to do most is make videos. But that can change again in a few months where I'm like, I feel like writing again. And even this is like trying to find a balance.
I'm just putting up my Alice One playlist right now. So they
Ah,
almost
okay.
actually. So you guys want to listen? So this playlist is basically my Alice in Wonderland theme. It's got everything from the Rainbow Road Mario Kart theme to like
Yes, I
classic
love.
Alice in Wonderland stuff. If you like, generally speaking, a little bit of metal, there's some Christian music, there's some Japanese rock and roll in there, there's some, right? So it's a
Mhm.
little bit of everything. But the theme is Alice in Wonderland because, and with a little bit of Greek mythology put in there. So artists, if you like Lights, Avril Lavigne, Eminem, Rachel Patton, right? There's a lot of like little bits of those two, but there's also lots of people like you may not be aware of, like uh, Amelie. There's like a lot of these like indie bands in there. There's also like metal like Epica and Ravenous
I
and
loved one of the songs by Epica, by the way. Sorry to interrupt you. And also Guts of Speed by Finger
oh,
Eleven.
I
I
love
really,
that song. Finger 11 Gods of Speed is
yeah.
fantastic.
I think I have a Finger 11 song on the list that I send you also.
Yeah.
Uh,
Thanks. So let's take a quick look here. I'm going to look at your list while we're talking, because guys, because this is the important shit. Me, or I say, what music do you like? Right. So
yeah.
I'm looking at her list, and I'm going to put that up there.
I saw you had
I
a lot of
the
lights.
Bjork the Bjork stuff popped me.
Hmm.
So it's called Ratty. That's her playlist. Her playlist is actually bigger than mine. Mine is exactly 42 songs. There's a reason for that with mine. So
Well, mine is a bit more random list, to be honest. This particular list, if you see, it's owned by someone else because I'm on my friend's Spotify.
yeah, no, it's
uh,
all good.
and um, basically what happened was like, okay, I'm moving some stuff from my own Spotify to hers, and what do I want on that list?
Yes.
And usually how my lists work is there's a section with a particular vibe, so I kind of skip from section to section depending on what vibe I'm on. uh, which if you listen to it on how you call that, on the random thing, which would feel like Russian roulette.
That's all good. So what I'm doing now, I'm putting your list up. So I'm doing right now. That's her list right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Storm the Sorrow by Epica, I also really like.
Yes, that's a really good one. No, like, so yeah, my list is very specific for that album. Like I might, like when I do the physical release, I'll probably put that list up there for people. Like these are the songs I really enjoyed and I popped
Mhm.
for, right? And people are going to be like, why is Rainbow Road on there? It's like it fits. It oddly fits this playlist. So, um, but no, it's just like that is like I decided like that was what I'd listen to, and like I said,
Mhm.
there's and from Bjork, the only one that Army of Me made me go,
I love that song.
yes.
Yeah.
That one made me go, yes. I popped at that one a little bit because it was one of those situations where I looked at it and said, hey, let's just let's just enjoy the whole process of making it. And like I said, the reason why it's 42 songs and only
Mhm.
42 songs, most people don't know this. Alice in Wonderland originally had 42 in there, right? It was that's for 42. It's the first time I saw 42 ever. So Lewis Carroll beat Douglas Adams, ladies and gentlemen. True story. So, right, see the 40-second rule if you must, and you will see it. 42 is originally an Alice in Wonderland thing. So, um, but going to you videos. So I do them commercially. I do them for I actually get paid to make videos. I guess my regular like freelance gig.
Right.
And doing this stuff has definitely taught me a lot of how to make videos. So you're like me, and you do a whole bunch of different disciplines. So if I were to hit you really, really hard, what do you think you're trying to say? Because I think all the mediums, the artist is what the medium has in common. So what does the artist care about right now? What is she trying to say?
Right now, I care about just sharing my own story personally. It's the first story I've chosen to to tell as an artist. Um, I think ultimately, if I can also think further down the line about the other projects I have in mind, I talk a lot about like just human relationships, just especially um, these intense moments. I just like that maybe that drama in a sense. These intense moments that happen between humans and just the perception of people on me in this case, and just I don't know, I'm fascinated about like perceptions and this idea of darkness and light. These are like things that I notice keep coming back. Um, like this I don't know. I think in the long run, if I am older later and I look back, it will be like this battle between people and between darkness and light, and this it's struggle kind of thing, and how can you um, overcome struggle or transmutate. It's the word I was looking earlier when you were saying like you change a certain type of energy to another. Like these things are like fascinate me, and I believe it will keep coming back in everything I do, because yeah, it's that's me as an artist, like, or just me as a person. What fascinates me a lot, and you will see that in my art. Um, I don't know if I
I
answered
I
your
I
question.
I I I, I see. I now know if I met you in real life, you'd be very shy. Just you always had like this little like smile when you're
Hmm.
talking. It's like you have this little like there's a shyness to you. It's actually kind
There
of
is a shyness to me, definitely. Yeah.
yeah. I can definitely see it.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of sweet, but it's also at the same time you're dealing with some of the oldest dramas like in human
Hmm.
history. Like again, you're if I were to make it again one of those educated guesses,
Hmm.
you're seeking peace within yourself. If I make an educated guess,
Yeah, that's part of it, I think. Yeah.
yeah, right.
But
And
I find it, I don't know, but I do
well,
see.
you're
Yeah.
looking. But something tells me I think
Yeah.
you will at some point. Might not be right away, but you'll find it. And
Hmm.
you're finding your confidence, and that's really good. Like that's really really good. Like you're
Yeah.
going to kick all kinds of ass in the next few years. I'm certain of it. I am absolutely certain. So I'm going to ask this, and then I'm going to make you an offer before we go off the air.
Hmm.
So I'm going to ask you this. You mentioned that you still got a day job and stuff like that. So what are your goals? Do you want this to become a full time thing?
Yeah.
Like what? Yeah, is that the next step for you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, in a heartbeat. If I could do it like today or even yesterday, yeah, I would definitely want to do this full time.
So you're going to release lots of books, TikTok videos, and you're going to do illustrations, and then you're going to that's cool.
Yeah,
Like that's really really cool. I wish you the best. I think you'll get
thank you.
there. I think you'll get there. I could be wrong, but I think you will. Which
I hope
leaves
so. Yeah,
which
your
leaves just
offer.
so I'm gonna make this offer. I'm gonna make
Hmm.
this an offer to you because you are doing poetry, and you showed off the book. Would you like to read from the book, or do we just want to get straight to the plugs?
I do want to read. Let's see. What do I want to read? What I want to
It's up
read.
to you. Like I'm not like this is all about you. I mean, I got to see your high priestess art, so I mean, that's pretty cool.
Uh, it's. I'll just read you the one that's accompanying me, since we were on that topic. Um, So I find myself amidst a twilight zone, somewhere between my darkness, my light, unraveling mysteries within. I love myself as is, as could be, as I always been. So that is the part accompanying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and if that's true, you've come a long way. It's impressive. So keep
I
rocking
agree.
it. You're
Yeah.
gonna kick some ass down the road. You really, really are. I think, I think we have an interview here. What do you think? Do you think we have an interview here?
And what?
Do you think we have an interview here?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. You have fun?
I did, yes. I
Yes.
enjoyed chatting. I enjoyed also listening to your music a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
When I make the playlist for the next one, I'll send it to you. It'll be a different playlist. It'll be a little bit more dystopian slash. But I kind of know kind of what I'm going for. So you'll see
Hmm.
what I'm doing. Um,
I love it.
that all
Yeah.
said, so your books are out. Where can people
Hmm.
find them?
There's Amazon, Barnes and Noble. I think I saw you on Kobo as well. Um, hold on.
So you're on Amazon.
Also,
Let's do this right. Let's do this
also,
absolutely. Let, let's do this right. Hold on a second here. So the
mhm.
story of her, right?
The Tale of Her.
The tale of her. Okay, cool.
Hmm.
See, I this is important, right? Because
Hmm.
okay, and books, right? And I'm trying to find you now.
Right. Do you want me to send you the links?
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be awesome. Send me that link of links.
One second.
Like I said, folks, we are trained professionals. We know what we're doing.
I think the easier would be my Instagram link in bio link. So then you get everything there.
Give a second here for everybody as we wrap this bad boy down. Shoot. We are looking, and then, no? Yay.
Yeah, it's logging into Instagram. It's a bit.
What's your Instagram?
It's Maanarak.4. But I got it. Can I share in here?
Just copy it or just send it to me by Facebook.
No, that's not. What the hell? 1 second.
So copy the link. Just highlight and copy. And then DM it to me so I can actually present this to people.
Oh, I was sending it in the private chat in the stream thing.
Oh, did you do that? Oh, yes, I got it.
Yeah? It's the last link, not the other one.
Yeah, that's fine. This is your LinkedIn bio here. So
yeah,
we're gonna do this, folks. This is what we're gonna do, and this is all her important stuff. We're gonna play it. We're gonna play it right here, and we're gonna show it because that's what we do here. So anything Maanarak has in terms of her book, however you want to grab her book, you can do so right here. And so I'm gonna let her do the picture. So pitch your book. Tell people what your book's about.
It's a story about me, basically deciding not to be quiet anymore and just taking the narrative back into my own hands. It's a short read, but I think very emotional read as well. There's a lot of cool illustrations, all made by me, poetry made by me as well, and of course the short story also by me. If you like poetry, you like a little bit of uh, just self-discovery, the themes that we talked about today, darkness, light, discovering yourself, just learning how to say no. I have even a manifesto at the end of the book, which is really fun. So for all of these reasons, you may get my book, and please, if you do, let me know just how your experience was.
I'll have to definitely check it out when I get paid again next month. I am a freelancer. I'm almost at the point where it's a living. I'm in a good situation where I can get to the next level. Mm-hmm. I've cracked 4 figures. Now I got to crack the living wage, right? Which that's close. I'm really close to it. So once I hit that point, I get to do like again. I'm at that point in my life. I'm too old for this shit. I'm just gonna do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Right? I'm only here once. I'm gonna say everything I'm gonna say. I'm gonna do everything I'm gonna do, and fuck it. That's where I'm at. Right? I feel you're there.
I am there. Yeah. I feel you. It just still a little bit on the cushion of having a 9-to-5 job, but I'm like building up. And
yeah, just working for other people shit's overrated. But that's my thing here. So, folks, if you want to support this podcast, that's my book, Alice One. It's just on Amazon for the time being. It's an ebook. If you want to see Alice in Wonderland play croquet with Jason of the Argonauts in the Underworld, this is for you. Promise you it'll be a good time. It's available on pretty much every Amazon platform. So wherever you are in the world, you can read it. If not, buy it. It's there for you to be read. So enjoy the journey, enjoy the ride. To everybody watching here, this has been my 700th episode. Before I wrap up officially, I want to thank every guest I've had up until this point.
It's truly been an honor to meet and interact with so many amazing people. I feel incredibly blessed that I'm at the point that I've done something I love, and I'm turning it very slowly into something I can make a living doing. And that would not be possible without each and every person here. Right? Sorry, I hit that button there to undid that. So that's where I'm at. Define whatever I want to do, Nathan. I can do everything, right? I didn't like that's there's nothing to define. It doesn't matter what the rules are. Like if we're talking about everything else going on right now, the truth of the matter is, no matter what this something people don't want to admit, I'll just openly say it. You are free to do what you choose. No matter what you do, you're free to do what you choose. Might not seem that way because of all the pressure coming down, but the truth of the matter is, and I can speak from just what I've seen across the country in Canada, people find ways, one way or the other. It's about what you want. And as for me, that's all I'll say on the air. To the rest, I want to thank everybody I've interviewed. I want to thank everybody that has gone and taken the time to listen to me. I have a big mouth, and you guys seem to think I'm good at this. I appreciate each and every person, every guest I've had. You guys are all incredible, and more than you realize. I think in most cases, even the more really successful ones, there's still more you can do. It's amazing. I've learned so much from each and every one of you, and that's what I want to say to each and every. That's what I want to say to each and every one of you. Stay inspired. Keep doing the things you want to do in this life, and keep believing you can make good things happen, because you can. And I got another 4 episodes next week before I wrap up for the year. So, this Maanarak, next time you come on the show, would you like to draw with me?
I would love to draw with you. Yes.
Okay, so we'll do that next time you come on the show. Okay, we'll figure out something silly to draw, and we'll draw it. To everybody else watching, everybody else listening, thank you for making this really a special day for me, and honored to have you all here, and thankful to have you all here. Stay inspired, keep shining in the dark, and I'll see you Monday.
Bye bye.